It was not on my side. Hi everyone. On my side it's showing I was not connected. So I would certainly like someone to say hi when you come on in. On my side it was showing I wasn't connected. So I went out and came back in. I'm trying again and I hope I'm connected this time. And let me see. All right. This time it's saying I'm here. I am going to go look for me then. I have, we've been having a few little glitches, which I'm sure some of you have also because of the way the weather is, and it's been a bit chilly. We were 27-degree overnight, so we were snug and warm inside, but not ready to go out too soon in this frosty morning. Well, I would love it if you said hi so I know for sure I'm being heard. And I've checked on my volume today, and I have 30 minutes, so I'm really going to get at this. I am showing you that I have a cute little hippo, and I'm going to show you how quick and easy we can paint this adorable little baby hippo. And we'll have choices. I made choice with the heart, but it really is a quick and easy hippo. And thank you so much for joining me today. Let me see. I'm gonna get her. Let's move. Let's rearrange. Let's try to keep this little one in the view, and so you can see. I want to get the right brush out. I thought I had it out. I'm gonna switch to this one. This surface I got from another wonderful artisan, and this surface comes available with or without the little hanging hole. I created this, I asked for the hole so it was an ornament, and you can find those over Square Nail Crafts. I'm working with zinc, and I'm loading, I gotta fix my brush, loading with zinc and getting a nice side load. I'm going to tilt this little one. I always double check. I have sometimes picked up a blob on my paint. You know, at the corner sometimes you end up with a blob, and so I check and then check again. Make sure that I don't have that blob on the edge of my paint. Well, this little hippo really is not too hard. She comes etched, and I'm working with, oops, I did that wrong. I have to watch my brush. I'm working with zinc, and I'm putting zinc down just in that little lower part of the ear, and then I can barely see it myself. Just that little corner of, when you see the etch, there's a little etch in there, and then you can see I'm putting just a little bit of zinc down in those little tiny little areas, and there's not a lot of room, but you know, it makes a difference. I'm going to go right across the top. Now I got to be a little bit careful. I want to angle my brush down. I preset the eye in. I have the eye all base in, and the pupil. Let me see, walk this over and make sure I don't hit that eye. I'm going to walk this up just a tiny bit. Then I'm going to use my mop. I'm picking up the paint and walking that out a little bit. And I'm not flipping my brush around. I'm not pouncing it. I'm picking up a little bit of paint and walking it out, and then get rid of any excess. So I'm using the mop a little different tool this time around. And I'm going to let that top dry because I want to come around, but don't want to remove what I just put on. And when you look at this little hippo, it's just a little play with the grays. It gives a little grayscale here that I'm working with. And I'm going to walk this one out a little bit more because this leg is behind. And so I'm walking that gray out just a little bit. Okay, I'm actually going to turn this upside down so I can show you what I do. There's an etch where the back leg is. Oops, where am I? I can't see my camera. There's an etch where you can see where the front leg is and it separates into the back. So I'm going to start with my brush pretty wide, and as I come up, I'm beginning to pivot my brush and get real narrow to fade out. And that helps a lot for me to get the. Let me try a bigger, wider one so I can show you what I did. I start with the brush wide, but as I coming, I picked up the wrong one. I need a solid surface under here. This is, oh, that's funny. It's a pick up. I start wide, and then as I go, I pivot my brush, and you can see how that begins to fade out as at the end where I pivoted the brush. I'm going to do the same thing on both sides. I start wide and then pivot, and that comes right to a nice ending. Let me see, is this side dry? Oh, it's drying pretty good for me right now. I probably could switch to a smaller brush in this area, but I'm going to keep going. I'm tucking that zinc right in between, going around the little toenails, and there's a little bit of a gap. I'm going right in between that. And this looks to me like I pulled the paint out really far, and so I'm going to tap just the center with the mop, and that's removing a little bit of paint from that center area. Bring that zinc in the lower part of each foot and make that across. All right, I am ready to put the zinc up around on the head. And I picked up too much water. I need to fix my brush. You always, when you're working with the side load, and if there's so much water in there that it causes the paint to roll over, you'll need to fix it. If it's too dry, you'll need to pick up a little drop of water on this clean edge of the brush. And depending on what area you are in, you have to learn how much is enough water mixed to the paint so that it flows nicely. And sometimes in the summer, this just won't work for me, but I'll tell you what, it's moving right along for me right now. Because sometimes in the summer and that heat, it just sucks the moisture real fast. And then there is a zinc shading right here on the tail. I'm going to touch up that tail. I'm going to put some on both sides. Now I have just a little bit of, I've been using the brush. I'm not reloading it when I go to the side. I'm actually taking off some more of the zinc. But now I'm going to make I'm just going to barely catch the edge of these toenails. Getting right in here with those toes, but I'm trying to catch just the very outer edge of the toes. And I don't want the zinc to go all the way. And I have just a small amount of paint in my brush. I probably could go to a smaller one. I'm going to tuck a little bit of zinc right in the nose, and I'm going to soften it with the edge that doesn't have paint. So when I put that zinc in, I went out a little too far, so I quickly touched it. And I can see I got to fix just a little bit over on that side. And this is that first layer. Well, I hope you can see it. I see shadows. I hope you can see that okay. This is that first layer with the zinc and the shading right around. I'm moving over to sand gray, and we're going to add the light areas. And I can see I got a little too much water in my brush. I'm going to move that over. And now I'm going to have to fix the nose, I know, because I'm going to not want to try to go around. So I already know I'm going to have to fix the nose, and I just went and put the zinc in there, but you know what? Sometimes we have to make a little more work for ourselves, don't we? That was a little extra step I jumped ahead to. But it also it also helps so I can see where I'm at now when I come back. I'm working with that sand gray, adding a little highlight to the top of the ear. And right now it's just not showing me. I can't see any comments. So if you said hi, hello, and if you have any questions, I'll have to get back to them because I don't know, I'm not seeing any of the comments. They're not showing up for me. Now remember when I did the gray and I pivoted the brush to get a narrow? I'm coming over to the shoulders. I'm going to do that same action. I see a little grit in there. I'm starting wide, and as I come just in front, I'm pivoting, and I'm allowing that paint to fade out, and it just stops. I'll go on to the same thing on the other side. With that gray sand, come down, pivot the brush, and just allow that to stop. And I can see this one is really, as it dried, it became very, very light. So I'm going to reapply that one. And I think I'm going to reapply the one across the top of the muzzle. It just seems like as it dried, it became really light. And I know I often work with a little bit more transparent paint, and that I'm happy to build up and come in and with another layer instead of going too much too fast. That too much too fast always looks scary, and it's harder to deal with. I'm still working with that sand gray. I've picked up an oval dry brush, loaded the paint, and I'm offloading a lot of that paint onto a dry paper towel. Make sure it's dry. And then I'm real softly watching just how much, and I move in different ways because I was someone who started to make a little bit of a bullseye, so I am moving to make sure I'm not creating a crazy little bullseye. So I put a little dry brush up in the forehead area. Now I'm going to bring that down the middle front of the legs. And I'm working on both legs. And what I mean by quick and easy, sometimes you just get in a really good roll and you know the brush is just working for you and it's not, I can see it's a little bit lighter, so I'm just taking advantage of my dry brush and adding it to the side. But when you know it's working for you, the brush, the rhythm, you know your brush is loaded right and the side load is working for you, that's makes it quick and easy. That's one of the things that makes it quick and easy. And you just roll with it. Now I'm moving over to Vintage Pink and I'm going to put that blush in. I have that side-loaded brush and I'm going to walk that paint out just a little bit. And that's looks like she's working. That looks like it's working. And the same thing on the other side with the Vintage Pink. Walk that out a little bit and then soften. I'm pivoting the brush a little bit on this as I come into the chin area so that it's narrow. Oh, I forgot to put the bleach sand on the chin. Oh, well, how about that? I noticed it, just noticed it. I think the blush is working, and I'm going to just give it a quick check with the mop. And I want that to dry before I decide if I need a little bit brighter. So I think about it, I let it dry, and I'm going to redo so that I can have that brightened up a little bit. Let's see if I can be a little tricky here and get that bleach sand tucked right into the chin without getting into the pink. It looks like it worked for me. I think for reassurance, I might just give that a little persuasion here, just a little extra. I don't want to run into it again when I come back for my pink. I'm going to go ahead and reapply another layer of the Vintage Pink. You know, when you're working with the blush, adjust for your liking. Go ahead and make it a little bit brighter or keep it a little softer, whatever works for you when you like. And then I'm taking this Vintage Pink, tucking it on the inside of the ear, or both ears, not just one. Just tucking that Vintage Pink in. Drying a little soft, but it's okay with me. I think I'm going to switch to the small brush. I'm still working with the Vintage Pink. I'm going to paint these nails. We're going to side load with the Vintage Pink, and it doesn't matter if you're using a flat or an angle. It just happened to be the size of brush I was looking for. I wanted this size to work with. I wanted a smaller brush, and that happened to be the first one I saw. And so either the flat or the angle, like I ended up grabbing, will work in here. And I'm just going along all the little toenails, making sure those little toes get the little pink. Right on there. All right. I'm going to let that set. Oops. Oh, okay. I almost picked up the wrong paint. I almost picked up and put, we don't want to do that yet. We don't want to put the wrong paint on. to remember what I've picked up a liner, and I'm working with zinc. Gonna put some, just see, a drop of water. Put the eyebrows on. Look, I have a little too much paint on there, and get those eyebrows in, and while those eyebrows are drying, I'm going to just reinforce the little nostrils. Ooh, that one's pretty good. And I really didn't add a lot more paint, but because I've put the sand gray on there, that contrast is showing up real nicely. I am picking up a little bit of warm white, checking to make sure it's dry. That one's still a little bit wet up on the eyebrow. With some white, I'm just a small amount. I'm adding some brightness just on the inside of the nostril. Put those little nose, and then I'm going to go ahead and touch between and walk that paint just a little bit out. I made just a little bit of a line. I'm going to soften that up. And I'm going to, you know what, I think I picked up bleached sand. I think I was supposed to use bleached sand. Well, there's just slight differences. So we'll roll with it. I'm going to highlight just above the eyebrows. Oops, don't want that too bright. Let's give it a little extra. Let's give a little extra to the. So much brush the brush, and I wasn't done. I actually add a little bit. It's very subtle and very subtle, but the thing is, your eyes catch that when you see this. There's sometimes just little things that your eyes catch, and so what I did is I put a little bit of that light above the eye and above the eyebrow. Now I want to get some eyelashes in there, and I want to pick up one of my fine liners. Boy, you know, gonna have to replace my liner pretty soon. It's starting to get just a little bent at the tip. And you know, liners. Does anybody else work their liners pretty hard? I sometimes just work them quite a bit. Oh, actually, whoops, let me do that. I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at this one, and I go, oh, I think the eyelashes are zinc, and I just picked up black. Let me get those eyelashes on. And being real careful to get just up on the edge. Oops, I can see that. It's starting to split. Those eyelashes might need a little maintenance. I already put the mouth in, and what I did is, even though there's an etching there, I came in with espresso and came down just a little bit, and then I used the sand gray up on the top. I already have blue out. All right. I'm using gingham blue, making just load up with a small amount of paint, and I don't want too much at one time, but I'm going to add that gingham in. They've got a nice little blue in the eyes. And I've got, trying to see if, taking a quick look, see if I've missed something. I'm going to add a highlight on the nails with the liner, not too much paint. I don't want it to be too, I don't want it to be too thick. I want that paint to flow off my paintbrush. Adding just that highlight up onto the tip there. And while I have my liner real busy and working, I'm picking up some espresso. I'm thinning the paint because I don't want these little freckles to be really bold dots. I want the thin paint and I want it transparent. And so I'm checking to see just what measurement's going to work. And I'll tell you what, I put the freckles on and wiped them off. Put them on, wiped them off, because I tried a couple different ways. And I had too much water one time, and then another time I didn't have enough water, and they looked like just big dots. And so, play with it, putting little freckles on with the transparent paint. So you might want to play with that before you add the freckles and try a couple different styles, just like I did, because it did take me a few tries, and you know, it's like they should be just a simple thing, but they were not. They just had their own mind that day. I tried to work the sample. And I'm adding the highlight in the eyes with white, and just adding I can see that brush is starting to split. I need me a new liner. It's definitely on my list. I'm adding the highlight in the eye. Just a small little bit, but it's there. And I'm thinking I can even brighten the chin if I wanted to. It just seems like as that sand gray dried, it just seems like it got just very soft. So I'll add a little hint more and bring out that brightness with a bit of warm white. And now I'm going to move that heart and show you this heart. It comes in, and I know I'm down on my 30 minutes. I'm going to show you the flower. Moved over to a number 2 filbert and pulled in petals. Now I know that Barb's coming in right after me, and we have several more demos coming on. Ooh. Oh, I don't even, oh goodness, I didn't even pull my green out. But I used the same filbert to pull some leaves in. Now my time is almost up. It is up, and I will show you the finished. I will keep working on these. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and Barb is coming up next, and I need to get off. Thank you so much. Goodbye now.